Welcome back to another episode of It's All Clutter, our special edition of Clutter Conversations. I am Jess Marcy. I'm a clutter coach, and I am so excited to have the beautiful Ellen with us today. Ellen has been a member of our communities for quite some time, and she is going to share a little bit about her journey with clutter. So Ellen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jess. I am thrilled to be here. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's jump right in.
I don't think you would have anybody say, I don't want to do it.
So why are you so excited to be here?
Do you know, I think well, here's the thing. A Clutter Boss is kind of like an extension of my family almost, because it has been so instrumental in not only to me, but in like how I deal with my kid, how I deal with my husband, just the overall effect it's had on my house. So it's kind of one of those things every day where you're supposed to say a prayer that you're thankful for something. And Clutter Boss comes up often, even if I'm not actively doing things in it.
Because all clutter is connected, and there's no way to effectively tackle your clutter without addressing all of the ways it's all connected. So, and you kind of just touch on that, but how have you found that clutter is connected in your life?
Holy smoly. So before I will do before Clutter Boss and then after Clutter and during Clutter Boss. So, before Clutter Boss, I think that I didn't realize it was clutter, and it was having a cause and effect on my life. And the cause and effect that it was having of clutter, of not dealing with at first I thought it's those boxes that I have to get rid of. It's those boxes that I have to get rid of. And what I realized is that having these 4 boxes from when my parents died, and I'd been carrying them around for 12 years, was leading to anxiety. It was leading to depression. It was leading to, not self-worth. It was leading to all of these things. And so before Clutter Boss, I was just kind of like, oh, they're just boxes. And then as soon as I started to get into Clutter Boss, I thought, wait a minute, not only are they boxes, yes. However, those feelings, those thoughts that I have associated with those boxes, that is clutter. And that is, so I think that how clutter was affecting my life before is it feels like I was, I had like a 50-pound backpack that was not fun. Just carrying around this invisible backpack that was just kind of like, nobody wants to do that. So
nobody wants to carry a heavy backpack around for no reason.
Exactly. Even if you are a backpacker, you don't want to carry a heavy backpack around.
You want to make it as light as possible. From my own experience, carry less, go further.
Exactly. Or, whenever I've gone backpacking, we've always hired llamas to take all the stuff. So, you make it work.
Get a Sherpa.
Yeah, exactly. So just in answer to that question, I think that clutter was just kind of, it was kind of holding me back from living.
Which is basically what clutter does, but we hate to say that. It's a hard thing to acknowledge. And I think, sometimes when we get to that point where we're like, oh my gosh, this has been holding me back from living, it stops you in your tracks, because then you start to feel bad that it was holding you back from living. But the right thing to do is to start tackling it so that it doesn't hold you back from living
anymore. And I think it's, I think that we're all students of the universe. And I think that that realization that, clutter really is holding you back. It's also a good opportunity to say, okay, now that I know this information, how am I going to use it? Because it's not fun to beat yourself up, so it's kind of like, oh, been there, done that. Let's move on.
It's not fun, and it really is not productive whatsoever.
No, it isn't at all. So question number 1, check.
Exactly. All right. So one question that I like to ask is, what's your earliest memory of clutter if you can go back, walk down memory lane, where does that clutter memory start?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, it starts in my beautiful hometown of Idaho Falls, Idaho. I'm the youngest child I have an older brother, and my mom and dad were the same in the fact that they came from the same state, different in the fact that economics were different. So I want to say my father's family was a little bit wealthier than my mom's family. So, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But, they were children of the Depression. So their parents, they were children of the Depression. So, my grandmothers would keep string. I know that a lot of people that, went through the depression, kept everything that they could. And so there's that. So I noticed a lot of behaviors, kind of around, we're not going to have enough. And then my dad, he was somebody that just had a lot of piles all over the place. And he was somebody that believed that he's going to get to it someday. He's going to get to it someday. So, he was a very esteemed nuclear physicist. And so he didn't have a lot of time for getting to it someday. And so, so his routine was to pick up a pile and move it somewhere, pick up another pile and move it somewhere. So, so he had clutter like paperwork, a lot of paperwork.
I was going to say, I bet a nuclear physicist has a ton of paperwork.
Yes, a ton of paperwork and a lot of things that he meant to get done. And then my mom, on the other hand, and this is where the economics comes into play, is that my mom, on the other hand, had a lot of clothes. So she had, her closet full upstairs, and then downstairs she had her, her season, like, being in a Western state, they had seasons. And so, so it was a lot of clothes, and it was a lot of just like going to the sale rack and buying, she had $100 just buying 10 shirts, as opposed to being like, okay, I have $100 to spend. I want to buy the best shirt that I can afford. So
right. It's not the best, it's the most.
Exactly. So I think that the clutter, and if my husband were here, he's not here right now, but if he were here, he would say that I've inherited my dad's pile system. So except for I do like now I don't do it as much, but I have like shopping bags where it's just kind of shove everything in the shopping bag, just go. And, so if we've lost, and now since I've done Clutter Boss Academy, though, it's funny because my husband will say, well, where is this thing? Where are your shopping bags of stuff? I'm like, oh, they're not around anymore. So
right, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. So I think that that's kind of a roundabout answer as far as, the two sides of me with clutter is that the belief of moving piles around and the belief of there's never going to be enough time. That I learned from my father. And then also the belief from my mother of, more clothes is going to be better. So that's the combination of where my clutter journey began as a kid.
It's always good to identify that starting point, because then you can really start to understand a lot of your whys around clutter, which people love to understand their whys. So that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Have you had any massive aha moments that like really stick out to you since you've started decluttering with us?
Oh, so many, so many. I think the biggest thing that I've had is, like I said, so my parents died. They passed away 12 years ago, and they died within a succession of 2 months of each other. And they, so it was really, really hard on me. I was young, I had just given birth to my daughter. It was really hard on me. And I think the biggest thing that I was holding on to during those 12 years is I was holding on to stuff. I was holding on to their stuff. And that's actually why I got into Clutter Boss, because it was like, I need to go through those 4 boxes. And one of the biggest things is that their memory still lives on, because that I have, 5 different boxes of their stuff isn't going to bring them back. But what is going to bring them back are the things that I cherish because of them. And I think that that's really been an aha for me as I'm going through these boxes. Some of it doesn't mean anything to me. And so it's a matter of saying, hey, asking my brother, would you like this? And if not, then thanking it and letting it go.
Yes.
So that's number one. That's the first one of what's my aha moments. I think the second aha moment that I've had, there are many, Jess, I'm just going to keep on going.
Just keep going.
The second aha moment was actually, it's in your workbook, and it's one of the first lessons, which is define your space. Define how much space you have to store things. And that had never occurred to me. So instead of like, before it was be like, okay, I've got to get as much stuff in here. All of a sudden the conversation is in my closet. Okay, I have this amount to hang clothing. I have this amount to put clothes away. And how can I use it? And if it doesn't fit in here, then you don't need it. So, so that was a huge aha moment. And it was good for me. My daughter just left for college, and we worked through that. I said, okay, this is how many drawers you have. This is how much space you have in your closet.
Like literally you have 4 drawers, right? Like 4. This is the number. Like we have a
Exactly.
parameter.
Exactly. And I think that was helpful for her. You know, she went above and beyond, and she like got bags and was like taking food out of the, you know, the pantry and everything, like she was never going to eat again. But that's beside the point. And so the aha moment. So, you know, 2 of them was that, you know, memory, you know, stuff isn't going to bring back my parents' memory. Or my parents physically, the fact that you have a defined amount of space, that's what you live in. And then I think really the third thing is that by getting rid of stuff, my life is just so much richer, you know, it's because you know, no longer is that anxiety there. No longer is that, you know, that those negative feelings of, gosh, I just can't get my act together, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying I'm all that, you know, however, it's a matter
If you think you're all that, own it.
That's right. I am right now. That's kind of the aha was that by releasing this clutter, I'm welcoming in a lot more into my life.
All right. So can you say that last part again? Because that's quotable. So if you're listening to this and you want to take notes.
Can I copyright it? No, just joking. So
you can, but that process is long and arduous.
long. Okay. So by letting go of clutter, I am allowing a lot more into my life that's beautiful.
That's right. That's right. That's the whole reason that we do this. Ellen, this is an incredible conversation so far. So I want to just stop and say thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.
And then, okay, so my next question on the list here is, at this point in your journey, what are you most proud of?
Ooh, okay. You know, okay, there's 3 things that pop into my brain. First one are the 4 boxes. The 4 boxes that, you know, I mean, if you're a relative of mine, if you're my friend, you know, everybody's kind of like, mother of God, Ellen, just get rid of the boxes, just get rid of them. And, you know, so, you know, not kind of understanding the emotion I had to them. But I only have 1 more box to go through, but then everything else, it was kind of like, why didn't I do this sooner? And I think I think my major accomplishment that I didn't want to stand in a place of judgment of myself. I think that it was, okay, you now have this information and now you're ready to do it. You know, don't judge yourself. You're ready to do that. And it was kind of amazing. I just went through one last weekend and I just donated everything. You know, it was like, I'm not really sure why I moved to this from New York to Idaho to Florida. I don't really know. So I got rid of that. So that was an accomplishment of, you know, don't judge yourself. You know, it's a process. I think the second thing that I'm really proud of with this is my closet, because I think that I've shared with you too, is that I'm a fan of the 3-3-3, which is where you know, yes, every 3 months you pick 33 articles of clothing to wear. And so pretty much I've stuck with that. So and because of that, I have not been going out to buy clothes, because it's like, I'm in love with everything in my closet. And then I think the other thing, the big accomplishment, is my file system. So, you know, I think one of the lessons that we did, you know, I think I said something like, you know, it's genius that you actually have categories for filing. So I did, you know, I'm a school teacher, so I did everything alphabetical, which made no sense whatsoever, you know, so. So when I started to go through, you know, my files, I was like, I had like zoo information. Why do I need zoo information? I don't know.
That's the problem with alphabetical though, is because would you put it under zoo or animal, right? Like zoo.
Right? I'm very cut and dry at zoo. So just by kind of organizing my files in a better way, like we were gone for about 3 weeks. And when I came home, I knew exactly where everything needed to go. And so I think that, you know, and I think that I wish that if I could give anything to my dad, I wish that I would have been able to give him that, because I think that a lot of the paperwork that he had was just, I don't know if he knew how to organize it, you know? So it's nice to like go away on a vacation or wherever and just say, oh, okay, there's a system for this. Okay, go ahead and file it, you know? So there's a system for it and go ahead and get it done. So those are 3 accomplishments that are tangible with stuff. I think the other accomplishment, though, is just the variety of the coaches that you have with Clutter Boss Academy. And one of the things that I'm most proud of, too, is, Allison does the Tuesday mindful calls. And I'm just changing the way that I'm thinking about things. And Amy does the Monday calls, and I'm changing the way I'm thinking about that as well. Denise does parenting calls. And, we're empty nesters now with an only child going to college. And she really helped me to kind of back off and let my daughter just live. So there's so many accomplishments.
So as a teacher, why do you think we don't really teach organization in schools? We teach some aspects of organization, but we don't teach basic organization.
Yeah.
Or you can challenge me on that if you want to.
No. Well, because I'm thinking, because I work in secondary. So, they do have classes like learning strategies for students that, might be struggling in a subject, and they do teach organization. But if you are taking a standard class or an honors class, they really don't teach it. And so, when I was in brick and mortar, I would always kind of give little hints of, okay, this is how you need to organize your folder. This is what you need to do. And I would stop, probably like once a month, we would have notebook checks. It would be like,
I kind of remember that from school now that you say that.
Yeah. Where is this? But I think kind of to get to it is that, sometimes teachers just don't have time. It's kind of like, you have to teach this and this and this and this. Hey, by the way, you have an exam in 2 weeks. And I wish that our education system wasn't like that. I wish that all kids could kind of take a Myers-Briggs test in a way, so that they could learn how to organize their life, what their strengths are, where they're going to need help, what they're going to need. And it's, online, I teach online now, and I do give a lot of strategies for kids that need help with organizing, just little strategies. But yeah, I wish that, I wish that, that we could do that.
Yeah, I think it's life skills, right? Like, how do you,
Whoops, pardon me.
No, that's okay.
Speaking of school.
It's true. We do teach executive functioning skills to a certain subset of students, but it's not necessarily, it's only if you're struggling really that you kind of get that more in-depth, how do we organize? How do you manage your time? How do you do all of this? But teachers have a lot going on.
We do. And in fact, I apologize. I'm going to put my phone forward to do not disturb. Okay. All right. Good. Let's go. Let's start. Go.
So, if you were going to advise somebody, give one piece of advice, to somebody who's thinking about starting this journey, thinking about decluttering, or not sure where to start, what would be the one thing that you say to them that's really, you think, very impactful? This is my best bit of advice to somebody who's just really trying and kind of the wheels are just spinning.
Just begin, just begin. It's going to be overwhelming. Just tell yourself, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on it a day. And then I think that, there's so many things.
I know.
And I also think that it's also, if you haven't used it in a year, you probably don't need it.
Yep.
And so I think it's just, start small, and then as soon as you decide to get rid of something, just get rid of it. Either throw it away or donate it right away that day, if at all possible.
The longer it hangs on,
the
more likely you are to, the more opportunities you have to change your mind.
Yeah, exactly. And just get rid of it too.
Yep.
Because your stuff doesn't define you.
Right. You are not your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about Project 333? Because you touched on that, but people might not know what Project 3, well, you mentioned it, but how has that really impacted your life? Because I love minimalist wardrobe, uniforms, all of that stuff, because it's made my life so much easier to not have to think and try on every morning and all this other stuff. So how has that impacted your life?
Exactly. Do you know what? It's been huge. whenever and it probably, I always kind of had heard about, I think it's Courtney, can't think of what her last name.
Courtney Carver, I think.
Yes, Courtney Carver. So she was the one that came up with this project. And even before I had heard about her, I had gone to Europe for a month and had watched a Rick Steves, I love Rick Steves, a travel video with him. And the woman that was doing the lecture said, okay, you're going to be hauling your bag around Europe. It has to be light, and you have to be able to pick clothes that you are going to wear daily. And as somebody that like would bring, before when I went to Europe, I had like 12 suitcases, and probably I wore like maybe 11 things out of the whole 12. And so like 4 years ago, the last time I went to Europe, I really noticed that, number one, I could survive on less clothing. And then number two, the things that I bought that I loved, I wore every single day. So it was a lot easier by the time I got home of saying, why I never wore this skirt. Why should I even keep this skirt? And so that kind of got me started on, looking at what my clothing does. And then I read the book by Courtney Carver, which is 333. So you pick your wardrobe, minimalist wardrobe for 3 months and 33 pieces. And that includes clothing, shoes, accessories. And even though I'm probably at about 50 pieces, but it just makes life so much easier because I'm not holding on to things that, don't fit me, or I'm not holding on. Now, I have to say it was hard to get to this. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to pick 30 things and be good, because I was holding on to like the shoes that were $250 that didn't fit, but I spent $250 on them. So I have to keep them. Or I was holding on to, the outfit that somebody gave me that didn't fit, but they gave me that outfit. And so I think as soon as I kind of realized, what, if you're not wearing it, don't, just get rid of it. And so now when I go into my closets, it's easy to get dressed because everything that's in my closet, I love. And if there's something that's not in my closet, like I need to, I'm looking at my shoes and I live in a warm climate, so I can wear sandals, but I'm looking at my shoes and thinking, I really want to get a new pair of shoes. And it's kind of like, okay, I can get that because I know what's in my wardrobe all the time. And it's just like, shopping my own closet. I really, really love what I wear. So that's been really great. And I think that getting back to the thought of, you buy what you can afford, is that because I have less things now, if I want something, I can kind of save up my money for it and buy something of really good quality. So,
Yep.
so
Totally.
yeah. So it's, looking at my wardrobe and kind of saying, okay, I really like what I have.
Do you find that you have some of the same pieces that carry on through each season?
Yes.
Or do you, okay.
Yeah. So I have my signature, black pants that I wear, like pretty much, any season I can. I have signature shoes that I wear. And I'm saying signature just because they're pieces that are fluid. They can go with anything. I can dress them down. I can make them look like, I'm going, I don't know, out to yoga or something like that. I don't know if you do this in yoga, but so there's definitely a lot of pieces that I have that are just solids, that are good solids. I remember my mom was a huge Audrey Hepburn fan. And I remember her telling me a story that she had read that Audrey Hepburn, when she left, she was a dancer. And when she left to go to Hollywood or, to pursue her film career, she had like 2 pairs of pants, 3 tops, 1 skirt, and about 12 little ties and a pair of flats. And Audrey Hepburn to me is just the epitome of style. And so just to prove the point of, you don't have to have a lot of things. The things you do have, though, you need to take care of them. And that is one thing I do really take good care of my clothes because I want them to last a while.
I actually just sewed a shirt the other day, which is something I very rarely do, but I love it. It's actually like a jacket and I love it. And the seam was coming apart. And I was like, you know what? I actually have time to repair this. And I never would have done that, like pre-decluttering. Like I just, that was the end of it. It would be garbage, right? But it's like, I just needed to stitch it up. It was no big deal at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really great. And I think it's, it's being smart about your clothing too. And, the daughter of a teenager, I definitely, I do not like fast fashion. And, that said, a lot of times that's what people can afford. So, I think the thing that I don't like about it is just that it's disposable. So I don't like the idea of spending like $10 on a shirt and wearing it 2 times and then just getting rid of it, but if you can only afford a $10 shirt and you wear it, for 5 years, then I think that's okay. So I've really kind of, I lectured, possibly if my daughter were here, she might say I've lectured about, buying things that are of quality and buying things that are humanely made. And
I like to think of like cost per wear. So like I try and go back and remember when I purchased something and how many times I've worn it and how can I get my cost per wear down. And then that justifies getting higher quality things because you're going to have them for longer and your cost per wear is going to be lower. So
that's good. I like that. I like that. Yeah. That pair of shoes, getting back to my $250 pair of shoes, I wore them twice. So that would be $125. And both times I got blisters.
It costs a lot and it's painful.
No thanks. But I think that, it's interesting because having lived with, having grown up with my mom, who was always, she had nice things, but she had a lot of things too, is that it's nice to be in a place of realizing that, everything that I need is in my closet. And, if I want to be stylish, that's on me, because it's not your outfit, it's, your whole
it's you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's everything there. So, so that's a little bit, Courtney Carver and her daughter have a great podcast that I listen to, and they talk about 333, but then they also just talk about, things that they really enjoy that they're welcoming into their life too. So I really love that as well.
I'll have to go check that out. I didn't actually know that she had a podcast.
Yeah.
I'll become a listener.
Yeah, it's great. They actually are on hiatus right now, but they do have one. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, Ellen. So our last question.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay.
What does your future hold now that you have, or now that you're in the process of decluttering and have changed your mindset around clutter and stuff and relationships and emotions?
That's a big question.
I know.
I think that it's, I kind of view it, and it's not like, oh, you cluttered, you decluttered once, you're done. It's a continuing process. And I think that the feeling that by getting rid of this clutter, it's just opened up my life to so much. It's just, I'm getting back to the mindset that, I can think a different way. Life doesn't have to be like this. I don't have to think that life is hard. It can be open to new possibilities. And I think, one thing that I'm noticing too is that, now that my husband and I are empty nesters, we've been empty nesters for a week and a half. All right. So it's a week and a half study, but that it's no longer, oh, I have to stay home and clean the house. Or if somebody comes over to the house, oh my God, just shove everything. Don't go in that room. Don't go in that room. There's a lot of freedom in it. And so I think moving forward, I want to continue to go through the areas that I haven't gone through and just let the house and myself breathe, just kind of give my life some breathing space.
Space to breathe. I love that.
Yeah. So, so that's what I'm looking forward to. And so it's, and it is actually, so when I first approached my husband about joining Clutter Boss Academy, he was kind of like, well, do you really need to do that? And now it's so interesting because I cleared out a giant, our closet in our office that we share. And he, every day, not every day, but, whenever he's in here, he's just like, that closet looks just so amazing. It's so incredible that we can find things now. And so, like, thank you. But it, so those are the things that I want more of. I just want more space to breathe, like I said, and just the ability to find things.
Yep.
And not double buy.
Yeah. You save so much money when you stop double buying. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Or triple buying or quadruple buying or, whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I love it. Well, Ellen, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our interview because we're at our time, but there have been so many little gems in this interview. So go back and re-listen because you probably missed half of them. And if you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Leave us a review if you're liking us, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this podcast. Do something that you're supposed to do, because that's what is coming back, whatever it is. And thank you so much to Ellen for giving us her time and sharing her journey today and making us laugh. So thank you, Ellen.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Jess, thanks so much. Have a great day.
You're so welcome.